Hi guys, my name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 books that I devoured. So this, I believe, was a Top 5 Wednesday topic in the past. I'm going to share some books that I read super quickly. Let's start with the first ever book that I remember devouring, which is Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott O'Dell. This is a piece of children's literature for 9 to 12-year-olds or middle grade fiction. It is the story of Karana, who is an indigenous woman living alone on an island for a number of years. So I remember really loving this as a child, and one of the things that I remember most about this book is that this was the first book that I stayed up really late to finish. I read this all in one shot after I was told to go to bed, put the lights out kind of thing. I stayed up and I continued reading this. It was one of those first books that I needed to finish, so I had to devour it all in one day. The other books are things that I have devoured a lot more recently. One of them is a little bit of a surprise to me because I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did, and that is Outlander by Gabaldon. Now, it's kind of a chunky book. I didn't expect to fly through it as quickly as I did. I'm pretty sure I stayed up late over 2 nights to finish this. So this is the story of Claire, who ends up finding a sort of tear in time. She ends up in Scotland in the 1700s. There's a romance story, not that all of it is great. There are some things that I had a really big issue with, but at the same time the story is just so like easily digestible and kind of addictive. I fully did not expect myself to get as sucked in as I did, and like I read this so quickly. So this Outlander was actually another book that I devoured. The third book I have here is a piece of queer YA literature that I picked up, I believe, during the 2017 Booktubeathon, and this was just so cute. It's Been Here All Along by Sandy Hall. So this is the story of 2 neighbors, 2 best friends, so Gideon and Kyle, and what happens when one of them sort of develops feelings for the other that are beyond their friendship. It was such a cute, warm, fuzzy read. It made me super happy, and like it was an absolute pleasure to sit down and read the story in one chunk. You know how some stories like you need to take a break from? I really, really enjoyed this, and I absolutely devoured this in one afternoon. The next book I have here is adult fantasy literature, and again, I devoured this over 2 days, I believe, and then jumped straight into the sequel, and that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. So this is a fantasy story sort of heavily rooted in Russian fairy tales, and it's following Vasilisa, who is different from her other siblings because she's sort of got, I don't know, like wild blood, I guess. She's closely connected to the forest and like the magic supernatural stuff that's happening there, and she can see the house spirits and the forest spirits, and it was everything that I already sort of like about fantasy literature. It's just a little bit different than what I've read before because it's drawing on Russian folk and mythology. I really, really enjoyed this as well, and while it wasn't all in one sitting, I devoured it. Like whenever I sat down, I read huge chunks of it. The other book I have here, I wasn't fully emotionally prepared for when I picked it up. I had just started working at Indigo, and this was a Heather's pick. It still is a Heather's pick. It was a Heather's pick. It's like a manager's pick. It was something that I'd heard about on the internet quite a bit, but that book was Eleanor and Park by Rowell. So I wasn't expecting to get sucked into this the way that I did. I wasn't expecting to feel the emotional impact that I felt, but I remember reading this just super quickly and super loving it. So this is a story of Eleanor, who comes from a very troubled home. Her father or stepfather is abusive. She develops this friendship with a boy named Park on the bus, and they sort of bond over music and the sharing of comic books. It's just a really cute, fun story, but it's also kind of dark, so it checks off some of my boxes in terms of YA lit, and yes, it's a very devourable story. Those are 5 books that I read very, very quickly. Let me know in the comments down below, have you read any of these books? Did you have a similar experience with them? If not, what is a book that you devoured in a very short span of time? Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!